Hello and welcome back to Azure Lowlands. We're here to talk to you about our AI Demystifying panel session. And we have invited some inspiring speakers and we also have invited Henk. Henk will be here just a couple of minutes because he's actually also, he has a lot of tasks today. He's also the organizer of Azure Lowlands. And also has a lot of knowledge about AI. But first, before we start with you, Henk, let's introduce our guests really quickly. So we have here on stage Goran, Lars, Henk, obviously. Could you please introduce yourself a bit and maybe share a fun fact about yourself?
Sure. That fun fact is always challenging, right? Name is Goran Vukšić, originally from Croatia, live in Sweden, work in Denmark. I work as engineering manager for Pandora. I'm also co-founder of a startup called Synthetic AI Data. I'm Microsoft AI MVP. I enjoy attending conferences, giving session talks on mostly AI and IoT topics. And challenging fun fact, in my 40s, I started a punk band. Thank you.
Not sure I can top that. Hi, I'm looking there, am I?
Yes.
Okay. I'm learning, so relax, people. Hi, I'm Lars. I'm I'm looking there. The red light. Well, I didn't know that. Hi. I'm not there. My name's Lars. I'm an Azure MVP, and by that I've done a few things with AI, not much. But I have created llama.com.au, so I think that's all we need to know.
And I llama.com.com.
.com.au.
.com.eu.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's
All
an
visit
Australian.
that. So hi everyone, I'm Henk. I'm a cloud advocate working at Microsoft and focusing on AI. And in my spare time, I organize these conferences.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Henk. So I have a first question for you. So we're going to talk a bit about AI. So what is actually your favorite AI tool currently, which you use daily? How about you, Henk?
Do I dare to say that?
Just go there. Just get it out. Rip it off.
Get it out.
Band-Aid.
Of course,
Yep.
the favorite at the moment is ChatGPT, is the OpenAI models that can do kind of everything for you, write your session abstracts, as like you've seen today on the,
Henk is actually
on the
not here.
panel.
This is all ChatGPT. You think you're seeing him.
Deep fake.
Yeah, we can't do that yet.
No.
Here. So no, that tool, I use it a lot to write stuff, check my English, help me write better emails, summarize things, write speeches and so on. I recently had to translate my presentation from English to Dutch. And I was like, oh, I don't even know those words in Dutch. And ChatGPT could just translate all that for me in like good Dutch. And that was really cool, really
Hang on, wait,
amazing.
there's good Dutch?
There is absolutely
Right, okay.
proper Dutch and there is Henk Dutch.
It's Henk Dutch.
What's your favorite tool, Lars?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say that then, obviously. I think probably Copilot, to be honest.
Copilot?
Yeah, Visual Studio, Copilot. It's just, like, it's the epitome of a, hey, I'm just going to put a comment in of what my function is going to be, and then before you know it, it's there. But it's you just describe what you want, and it's not always correct, but it's pretty darn close. And it makes me look good, like I know what I'm doing.
How about you, Goran? What's your favorite tool, AI tool?
Should I do a bit of marketing and say the one that my startup is developing? No, like probably, as Henk said, ChatGPT is something we use the most these days. Yeah.
So how about you? We have some folks in the audience. Is there any specific tool that you haven't heard right now that you're like, oh my God, how is this not mentioned? So if ChatGPT, Copilot, anyone out there who's like, don't forget this tool.
Yes.
Midjourney.
I was waiting for someone to say
Midjourney. DALL-E? Anyone using DALL-E?
I'd use that too, yeah.
Oh, you use that too?
Yeah,
So ChatGPT, Midjourney, and so what do you use that for?
So I used DALL-E. So I had another talk, because I'm a bit addicted to speaking in front of audiences, I'm sorry. And I used DALL-E to create all the pixel art for a whole like 8 slide decks. It was all, long story, cloud adventures. It's like a medieval journey through Azure. and it was all done with pixel art. It's actually pretty good. I was amazed. I was going to do it as sort of like, hey, don't do this because it doesn't work, but it did. So yeah.
So do you think, so when you read the news, there are a lot of folks these days who are afraid that AI currently so we will lose our jobs due to robots and AI. What do you think about that? Is there some truth in that statement, Henk?
Just say yes.
Yeah, it's obvious that AI is going to replace some of the jobs, but it will definitely create a new, different kind of jobs where people have to operate and instruct the AIs and all kind of those things. Like, it's not that we don't need with GitHub Copilot. It creates code for you, but it still needs like a developer to watch if the code is actually fitting in the bigger picture, if it is like doing exactly what it has to do, if it still is classifying llamas as llamas, and so on. So you still need people to help, and I think that will be a shift where we will see people operating AIs, and I think it will actually create more opportunity and more jobs.
And so Goran, how do you think that AI will impact our society?
Yeah, I see it just as a new skill that we all need to absorb, develop, and learn more about it. And yeah, we will use it more and more in everyday life, definitely.
And I've also read articles about the security. So it's kind of like when the internet was just invented. There were like open gates, like go, have fun. Kind of feels the same with AI. There's like a lot you can do with AI. How do you feel like should there be any gates like this is you have to stop here because there are no strict laws or regulations just yet. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so the EU now is coming up with a law for AI, and obviously some things will be regulated. I hope that in the end what we get will be something more than just a pop-up. This content is generated with AI. Okay, accept cookie, allow location, and other stuff we need to click. But like, yeah, there needs to be some regulations, and probably I don't know, 5-10 years from now we will say, yeah, remember the times when we were able to do whatever we wanted with AI. We need to use it in a responsible way. It's really advanced technology, and in the wrong hands with the wrong ideas, it can go wrong, right? There were already some examples, like because it's so open, so publicly accessible that people use it in a wrong way. So hopefully we will prevent that.
If you could predict the future of AI, how? Just like a wild guess, if you could look into the future, what road do you think we will travel with AI, Henk?
Yes. I think like AI now, it's extremely hyped. We got this new tool, this new ChatGPT, we're going to see the possibilities. And it is with kind of every tool, it goes up, hyped. And I think, I don't know when it is, but then we will fall down that bit of like kind of disillusion. Like, we've seen what ChatGPT can, we've seen what it is, but then how do we actually apply it? And that is the phase we're going in after a few years, I think, where we have to actually find and implement it. Now everyone is there, we're trying to put it everywhere, but that is what the coming time is going to be. We're going to see it in all these little inventions, little products, little things, and we all have to see the value, and then it will become part of our lives without us even hyping it.
Any thoughts, Lars?
Oh yeah, many. No, I think you're right that it's a bit like when you were saying the internet, right? When we first started using the internet, it was like, ooh, wow, we can do everything, and people were like, no, you shouldn't because it's going to go bad, right? And we have the same, because we're humans, we don't like change. Then we see AI now as going, oh, there's a lot of change, oh, it's terrible. But in fact, I think AI is one of those tools that is useful. And the best that comes to mind is blockchain. that was a thing that became a really big thing, and it's absolutely useless, right? I've never seen a good use case for blockchain. If you disagree, let me know, but I have not seen anything where you can't do it better with something else, right? Where I think AI actually has useful applications, and we make things better with it. Because I'd rather have content written by an AI that's interesting than a human where it's boring, if that makes sense. Like, I think we can push things to be better, but I agree with Goran, we definitely need the legislation around it as well. We need to sort of know what we're doing with it. But yeah, I'm excited. I think once we get over the hype, we'll get to a point where we can use it as more of almost an implicit tool. So we have all the other tools that we put in, and we just have the AI part of it as well. And it won't be a AI tool.
It won't be an AI tool?
No, we won't call it that. It'll just be, well, we have an image generator. But right now it's like, oh, AI image generator, AI this, AI that, because it's a bit of a buzzword. I think we'll get past that, and it just becomes part of our technology stack.
Do you think there are any ethical considerations we have to keep in mind while we're building on all these AI tools?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a lot. And if you take a look at the tools nowadays, like Dolly, for example, try to generate image of developer. You will get mostly male developers. Why? Or try with doctor and the nurse. You get the idea. So there's a lot about how we train this AI, and we need to regulate that it's trained in a way that represent each group of data equally, right? To get results out of it that are not biased.
Yes, thank you. That makes sense.
I completely agree. The bias in AI is the biggest problem. I think because AI is only as smart as the information you feed into it. And if that's all fed in from one certain viewpoint, then the output is going to be from that viewpoint as well, most likely.
Yeah, and we gave it the internet.
We what?
We gave it as a training source the internet. So what can possibly go wrong?
Yeah, we saw also. Do you remember Tay?
Yeah. It's very limited, of course, but we gave it as a training set. So we really have to realize that the training set is what is on the internet. So it is as dependable as the internet.
Yeah. Again, biased. And I don't know how we're going to fix that one, if I'm honest. Not sure.
Henk, I'm going to give you back your time as one of the co-organizers of Azure Lowlands. Please remain seated because we are going to bring in another panelist, Kuno Rijman, and we're also going to bring in another co-host, Mark Duiker.
Thank you for having me, and enjoy Azure Lowlands, everyone.
Yeah,
Yes,
get out.
thank
Come on,
you.
off you go.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Kuno. Can you
Come here.
squeeze in? So a real quick introduction. Kuno. Oh, we on? Sure. Do we have an extra mic?
Well, this works, right? Yeah. So, hi.
Oh, well, this works. Hi,
Yeah.
Kuno. Could you introduce yourself and maybe share a fun fact?
Sure, I have lots of fun facts to tell, of course. My name is Kuno. I work as a customer success architect for GitHub. So I help big enterprise customers in Benelux adopting GitHub the best way you can from more technical perspective. So I had this technical point of view of adopting GitHub.
Now I fit.
Yeah? Nice.
And hello, Mark.
Thank you.
Hi, and thank you for being my co-host today.
Glad to help out. I was doing like MC duty somewhere else, but I'm happy to help out here as well.
Well, thank you. So what is your favorite AI tool?
Hats.
AI-generated hats. No, so it's definitely Copilot.
Copilot?
Yeah. Because I definitely, I do like coding a lot, so it definitely gives me a lot of help with which languages I'm not very familiar with. So .NET C# is quite my thing, so that's okay. But if I need to code something in JavaScript or something, which happens often, or maybe something in Python, which I also don't know that well, then it's really a big help. I really like it. Yeah.
As I said, it makes you look good.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's really I'm much faster to get to a certain
Yeah.
kind of result, right? So
I think
it's-
that's the key,
It's nice
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will ever really replace me. I hope, but it will certainly makes me more efficient. So that's what I do like. Yeah.
Go ahead, Kuno.
So I'm just curious about your workflow then, right? So do you think about like, okay, I write something that I know and then translate it using Copilot to another language that you're not very confident in?
Yeah, usually I start, so I have a certain idea in mind, and I don't write it in the language I'm familiar with. So usually I just start writing text or a comment, and then have the comment generate the code. So that's usually my workflow.
Yeah, I do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to code that way anyway, that I would put comments and I'll logically spell out the workflow before I code any actual code. And now with Copilot, you just put the comments and it does the coding. It's not always perfect, granted, but it's, so much better, quicker.
So what would you consider as limitations to Copilot? Like if there was like an extra feature you could just add like that?
Oh, right. Well, the limitation is the trap of thinking it's perfect, right? Because it looks good and it does what you want, possibly. The thing that we're getting rid of is syntax errors, not logic errors. Because it can absolutely put in something that'll work, and it'll work maybe 9 out of 10 times the way you think, and then there'll be this edge case that you didn't think about because you didn't write the code that then makes it blow up at the wrong time. So yeah, I think that's the trap. I don't know how we'd fix that as a feature. We probably need more data in it, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Maybe Kuno, do you have any thoughts about that?
Can I pass this one, please?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Let me think about it for a sec.
Yeah, sure. It's like so Goran, if there was anything that you could add to your are you using Copilot or another AI tool to help you with your work basically?
I used Copilot, but I don't code so much, so not everyday use, I would say. Yeah. Feature-wise, unfortunately, nothing comes to my mind at the moment.
Yes, I come up with an answer here. So I think when we look at what the output of the whole Copilot is, I think it is also a shift of responsibility there. For now, it is always at the developer. And I think when you start shifting that to the tool itself, that's a whole complete ballgame, basically. So,
But are we though? Are we actually doing that?
no, for
Good.
now, everything is on the developer. So
Yeah,
you
as it should be.
So you're responsible for the output,
All right.
and also can be accountable for what you deliver, basically there. And I think when you keep that in mind, I think there's still gaps to fill, basically, on the output and the quality out of it. But still, somebody has to review it, basically, make sure it is up to standard, these kind of things. Right?
Yeah, because it's, code assistance tools is not a new thing, is it? Like we've had them for, decades, I almost say. Things that helps us, a plugin, I'm thinking ReSharper, for example, right? It's just that now it seems to be more powerful and we get more help quicker, but it's still on us to actually verify that it does the thing we meant it to do. Yeah? So
Totally agree. Yeah.
just confirming sort of like, I don't want the tool to be in charge.
No.
No.
I do have a question for you, because I've worked for a company and that was not very eager to allow, let's say, these AI-based code assistant tools, because of like intellectual property and stuff like that. So do you have any answers for those type of companies who are very hesitant to use these kind of tools?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a common concern, right? That is also what I hear from other customers as well, that I serve and talk to, discuss these kind of things. One of the things and answers that we have here is mainly that we only take the context and data that is actually necessary to provide a suggestion, a generated code. That's the only part we keep, but it's automatically thrown away. So we don't take actually what is there on our side. It is thrown away after we provided the suggestions. But these are common, well-known questions, basically, for actually turning on it on a broader, especially in large enterprises as well. that want to use the tool because they understand the productivity gain and all the other things that it will provide, but also a bit hesitant on these kind of, what does it mean, compliance, legal, all that kind of things. And that's most of the time the blocker I hear and see.
Would it ever make sense to offer more options about what data sources or what input sources are used? So say you offer some kind of AI tool for a super large enterprise that already has like a code base of millions of lines, and maybe you allow that enterprise only to use their existing code base to generate more code. Would that make sense?
It depends on the company, right? So on one hand, I hear people that no, shouldn't touch my code base, my property, you stay away of it. Other ones like the ID that you just proposed, like, yeah, please include it, and I can enforce my own standards, right? Suggested by Copilot, for example. And I think this is the trade-off that we will have to make at some point. I'm not sure what the Copilot team is thinking about these kind of things, but definitely these are the right questions, right, to ask.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Yeah.
Sorry.
We're learning, as I said.
Yes, learning on the job. Yeah.
There is an interest. Yeah, if I just put my developer hat on, sorry, then we've always copy pasted things forever. That's how you learn a lot of programming, right? And maybe your boss doesn't want to know that, but we do. We look up Stack Overflow, we go, oh, that's clever, I'm going to have that. And yes, this is slightly different because it's doing it for us, but it is somehow, it is in that vein of copy pasting, I think. And I don't know if that's not an answer to this, but it's just a thought of, yeah, so.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. So the next thing that will probably be developed is because there is like the Stack Overflow copy-paste keyboard, right, with just like 2 keys. So the next thing that will be developed is like the chat GTP keyboard, right? We just hit the button, say what you want, and then it will like
Stack Overflow
push your code into it. Yeah.
So what measures do you think should be in place in order to guard the privacy of folks? I mean, like, you can find everything on the internet, all the images, all the data, it's right there. So if you're going to use AI and maybe generate images or whatever, I know there are like a lot of compliance issues and perhaps even legal conflicts. So do you have any thoughts of what measures should be in place for an AI to safely use data that is to be found out there? I know that there are companies, for instance, who don't allow their employees to use certain AI tools. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, if it was like very simple, if you could just say, if we only had this and that in place, it would be safe for us to use AI tools. So whether that's Midjourney or ChatGPT or any other tool. What are we currently missing? What are we missing out on? What is we don't have?
I think there are already initiatives on that, and that is just to tag it, because now you don't know if it's AI generated, yes or no. I think if this is a clear statement available on every piece, text, image, whatever, then you can at least choose what you have, and you know what you have, basically. And then based on that, you can make choice of or to use the AI-generated content or not, and have that, so you can actually make a conscious decision instead of just use it and you never know, basically, right? So.
Yeah, I'd love to see some sort of profit sharing. I'm thinking mainly of creative, like images. Because a lot of the training material, yes, it's free on the internet, and they just scrape God knows how many millions of photos to get something.
Like my pixel art.
Sorry?
Like my pixel art that you just generated.
Oh, really?
Maybe I made the pixel art and just the AI scraped it off, and now you're using it.
Yeah, exactly,
that
right?
Could be, right?
But if there's some way, you were saying tagging, if we can somehow note where this image, what the work it's based on, and we can contribute some of the, say, profit that comes from this tool to the artist that it actually copied, or whatever you want to call it. I have no idea how that would look like, but I think that's what the legislation needs to somehow inform. Because I think now there's a problem, especially for creative artists, that I can, as a completely design challenged developer, create this beautiful looking thing that, you know, I can just use rather than have
And
to
put
pay
your
someone.
name on it, yeah.
Well, I could put my name on it. I mean, I haven't yet, but you know, no, you could absolutely. And why would you not? You know, oh, I can just sell that. So somehow we need to manage that somehow. I don't know what that looks like, but
Yes, and like to take it a step further, so we are currently in a time, so AI is a thing, but our children will grow up with AI tools. So most likely they will use AI for their studies, for the exams, for basically everything. So if you're a kid and you want to become an engineer and you create this GitHub account and you want to learn how to code, basically you also just ask Copilot. So I'm curious, how do we actually measure the knowledge of our new future employees? How do you actually know that they will be able to? I know it's new, right? I mean, AI is new. So how would you do that? How do you know that they actually know what they say they know?
So IQ versus AIQ.
Right.
But as I mentioned earlier, like it's a skill we need to develop, right? And yeah, is someone using that skill right? And that's there's still some output and something that needs to be created, and that's what we actually measure.
So actually we have to train our kids how to use the AI tools for their own benefits. Could that be like, because it's currently happening, like a lot of students, so my kids are like in college and they're actually using ChatGPT and also Copilot to finish their project. So Copilot for the code, of course, and ChatGPT, write this project, use this and this and that, and the prompt is amazing. And so now I'm curious, like, how do your teachers actually know this was not generated by? I mean, you have tools that can check that, but they're also like, yeah, but mom, we have tools to uncheck that. So we have a tool that runs on this tool, that runs on that tool, so it's untraceable. Like, oh my gosh, this is the future of AI, really. So you will have your certificate, but it's actually an AI certificate.
you have completed your AI education.
Yes. Your tool handling.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you would hire a new employee for how can you actually check that they're actually knowledgeable about the job they're actually applying for?
Talk to them.
Yes, and more speaking about concepts, right?
Yeah.
I think
How
because
would you design this thing?
yeah, exactly. Instead of dot comma or approach the whole thing.
I always thought coding challenges were silly in job interviews.
Me,
Yeah. Anyone can learn syntax, it's not difficult, right? You need to know that people know the concepts and the systems and the architecture and like how would you approach this problem? Much rather know about people's problem solving skills than their syntax skills. So I'm hoping that we can still just talk to people and it becomes pretty obvious if they have no knowledge or not.
I'm not going to tell my kids that.
yeah, I'm not sure how you rate that, right? As well,
Yeah.
from a study perspective.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult indeed, yeah.
Already is.
Yes. Another thing that I was thinking, because we are, of course, are in our IT bubble, right? And we use AI-assisted tools for like writing code, but also to write blog posts about code and stuff like that. And also maybe to generate some images. But can we also think of some examples outside of IT where we think all these AI tools will be beneficial? Maybe not now, but maybe in the near future?
I think self-driving cars are a good example here.
Right, yeah.
I think this is also a topic where most of the advances have been made past years from that area. Yeah, and that is also where you see that's not most of the time a technical problem to solve by AI, but more of a legal and acceptance by the society, basically.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean here.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, that's a good example, I think. Something that takes away things that people aren't very good at, like driving a car. In general, humans are pretty crap at it. because there's too many inputs, right? I've driven with people where the fifth priority is driving the car. There's 4 other things they do instead while they're driving, right? So if we can fix that, that'll be good. Yeah, I'm just going to jump on that. Is that good?
It makes sense.
Woo. No, I'm thinking my parents as well, because they're old, right? They're late 70s. Anything that would make their world make more sense, I think could be a good thing. I'm thinking my dad using a phone, like a smartphone. Put it this way, there are 18 pages on the home screen, each with one icon on it, because he just doesn't get the whole, moving them about and stuff. So I don't know, things that make those things easier, like tell the thing what you want it to do and AI does it for you, or things like that. Yeah, assistance tools.
So I wonder, have you maybe also thought how AI can help on a global scale? So do you think there's also there are possibilities for AI to help out with, say, climate change, or as you just mentioned, maybe like healthcare, or help out some older folks when they're struggling with, well, not just age, but also the physical part? Do you think that AI could potentially help there?
Definitely, and like same way IT nowadays is present in absolutely every industry out there, so which means AI can also be there and help with whatever there is, whichever industry you pick.
I'm also thinking about people that have a disability, hearing or sight. I think that is also where we can expect great benefits for using AI.
I was also thinking maybe the accessibility part. So there are a lot of folks who struggle with maybe just writing code, for instance. If you're poor-sighted or if you're not able to type, I think it would be cool to have like some sort of AI tool that can help you with that. So we have screen readers and we have other options for folks to actually see what's on a web page without actually being able to see. So we have screen reader for folks who have a hard time hearing. There are also options. I think maybe AI can help with like adapting to that, making sure that everyone is able to use.
We can even nowadays with some gadgets read our brainwaves and figure out the thoughts. Something my session soon is about.
Oh, but your session is in 45 minutes, right?
Yeah. I'll have to run there soon. If that's fine.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's fine for you to just like go ahead and prepare.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Goran.
So I've got another question for you two. And so, of course, I think most developers are very happy with all these AI-assisted tools, and also a lot of writers are very happy with it. But I also read this case about a lawyer using like ChatGPT to make up some kind of a fake case, which was then referencing to non-existing other cases and stuff like that. So it can be like used like intentionally or maybe unintentionally in bad ways, right? So what are like typical things that you say, okay, in this case we should not actually use AI-assisted tools, either be in IT or outside IT?
I think if you want to sort of like pretend to be someone else,
Yeah, right.
I think that's a bad way of using AI, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's still going to happen though.
Yeah, I think that's why we need the gates. That's why we want to guardrail the tools.
Yeah, but the technology is already there to create a voice that can say anything based on samples, even with dialects, which is pretty impressive. But what should we not use it for? I don't know if that's the right answer, a right question rather, because it's kind of like saying, what shouldn't we use the internet for? And people then will do that exact thing.
Or the cloud. right?
Yeah. Well, you can't.
Well, I think there should be also awareness about this, right? Because you mentioned that your kids are using like AI tools at school, but my kids are a bit younger, but they're also learning how to deal with social media, right? So they're learning how to use it, but also how not to use it. So I think there should also be like education how not to use certain tools, because I think that's also important to know what is for ethical reasons, for instance, you should not use something like this because you will hurt people, or for legal reasons, and stuff like that. So I think it's important to know what are the, let's say, ethical or legal boundaries for usage of these tools. Yeah.
Education. It's a bit like driving a car. Yes, you can do really nasty things with it, but we don't, because we've learned. And we know what's acceptable and what's not, and what legal frameworks, etc. And it's probably the same in this case.
So should it be like an AI driver's license then?
Yeah, or just part of the regular. Yeah.
Yeah.
School curriculum.
Why
Again,
not
I
like Jim? Yeah, this is just part of a tool. Make sure you get known in the digital world on how to approach things. Get to learn how use tools, but also make sure that you are confident of using them, and especially why you're using them.
It's already in the works. So there are already like courses, university courses that will train you on how to use specific AI tools. So there is this, for instance, the Smart Media Production is a program you can follow, and it teaches you how to create dynamic content using AI tools, so OpenAI, so ChatGPT, but also indeed Midjourney, DALL-E, and they're teaching students now these days how to. It's kind of like what online marketing used to be, but now with OpenAI and very specific. So it's already in the works.
Oh yeah. There'll be a lot more of that, I reckon. A lot more.
And so, as you mentioned, ideally it should also be incorporated into the program of smaller kids, as on how to use AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's also dangerous if they know how to.
I'm wondering if it just becomes part of whatever the topic is. Oh, we're doing cooking, and there's just an AI tools that you use to figure out how to do it. I don't know. Like, it doesn't become a specific, explicit thing, but it's more a part of many things, a bit like internet.
I still think the internet is scary, especially for younger kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's like going on, like telling your 3 to 4 year olds, like, go out there, open the door, go out, and go to school all by yourself. Have fun. And there's a lot of traffic there, and they don't know anything about the traffic that's out there, and you're sending them out there. I kind of feel it's the same with AI. Like, there's all this stuff you can do. You create things, you publish it, it's out there, and it has your name on it. I think that's kind of scary.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely need either definitely like regulations, but regulations are always like behind with the real world, right? And like education, we think is also important, but it's also always behind with the real world. So we're probably always like 2-3 steps behind on new inventions.
And these are tough questions, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think we will come up with a final answer here. Definitely not.
No?
But it's interesting to think about.
No, it's not a 10-hour panel?
No, but it's good to have them raised and think about
Yeah.
these things, because it is not something that is you have a final answer and then stick with it. Is an upcoming topic each time something new will pop up, basically, right? So, yeah.
Well, I think we're all engineers most likely will find a problem and most likely also a solution for it. So since we're here also on Azure Lowlands, if there was this perfect tool, so whether it's AI or any other tool that could like make your life so much easier, which maybe is non-existent, what would that be? Could also be like a hologram sitting next to you, just make sure that you're not alone-ish. But and also, or maybe it's something like Copilot 10.0 with all these amazing features. Like, if there's anything that could make your life, so your work more easy, or maybe your life easier, with just
Email autoresponder.
sorry.
An email autoresponder.
But that also that already exists, right? But you mean per specific?
Yeah, of course. So specific on the target, context, right volume,
How about
right
you?
emotion, right? In the context of the mail, all these things that could be interesting feature for me at least.
But then this AI tool would send these emails on behalf of you, and you have no idea you sent them.
Well, it depends if it just created a draft, right? So it comes down to the whole co-pilot thing, where are we in the driver's seat or is the tool in the driver's seat? And if we keep it that way, that it at least give a first draft,
Yeah.
then we can still check it out and make sure that it helps us doing our job faster, right?
Pretty sure that's coming if it's not already here.
Yeah.
Like Outlook, I use Microsoft, but Outlook, I think it's next year maybe, whatever. I think it was announced that you can use ChatGPT integrations into it, or generative language, so that you can say reply to this email and say this, and it'll have the reply there in the program itself. So that's one of the things. I mean, it's not spelled out that that's AI. It's just part of the software now. So, it might be helpful.
Interesting.
Mm.
You any thoughts? Like, what would be your future next?
Oh yeah, so I create a lot of content, still mostly by hand though, so not anything generated. But the thing I don't like about so I like creating the content, but then I have the content like a blog or a video or a demo, but then I need to distribute the content, right? And that's actually quite a lot of work, right? So I mean, of course, I can post it on Twitter and on LinkedIn and on Reddit, but there are like 1,001 places where you can put your content, and based on the type of content, you need to select certain channels, and quite some investigation time is spent on, okay, what is the ideal location to drop this content and to get people to draw attention to it. So that I would like to hand out to some kind of AI system, so I don't have to worry about that.
That sounds like an easy thing to solve.
Is it though?
Isn't it?
I don't know. I think it's also about making sure what kind of of course you can count likes and stuff like that, but for instance, some communities on Reddit can be quite harsh, right? So sometimes you can post something
All
there and it's quite
communities.
popular, but the next time it's like you're burned to the ground. So it also needs to be intelligent on and feeding all of the feedback on how on your post
right.
there, and I don't think it's that trivial.
I like that thing that gives me more time. It generates more time. So if we can have that, that'd be good. Thanks.
Well, I think we are at time. So thank you very much for insight on AI. Apparently, there's still a lot of open questions that we don't have an answer to. There are also still like a lot of things to concerns, laws, regulations, privacy, data protection, like a lot of things. So we're not there yet. But we do want to change the world, save the earth, help our children. So we still have a long way to go. But thank you all for joining us today, and enjoy our evening and our
Thank you.
barbecue.
I know. Thanks very
Thank
much.
you for being here as well.